Good morning. This is Angela with Park Rose Permaculture. I'm standing up in my front yard. You can hear the birds singing. It's a really nice morning. I'm still in my jammies. I did my morning chores already, and I thought I would make a video answering some questions that folks had on one particular topic. And I'm distracted right now because there are Anna's hummingbirds in the front yard. We'll see if we can see them when I get a little bit closer to where they are. There's a pair of Annas that like to squabble over some of the territory here in the front yard. I think because one of my trees they like to feed from is getting ready to bloom. So in the front yard up by the street, I try and have a mix of food producing and medicinal plants, and then some purely aesthetic plants that are also good pollinator plants. So up here I have a big plum tree. Sorry, there's a bus going by. I'm on a bus route, which in Portland is like a property value booster. People want to be on a bus route so they can use public transportation. Okay, so I have a honeyberry here. This bed is being completely revamped. These are old blocks from when we tore up our driveway. I have lilacs and other things, and then I've torn out, this has had in the past dahlias and underplanted with pumpkins. It's grown tomatoes. It's grown all kinds of things, and I'm really converting it more into an herbaceous border with then an area of shrubs behind it. So I have like hebes and calycanthus and cistus and things like that are back here, and then there's going to be an herbaceous border. It's all really small right now. We're going to come back later in the year and look at it. There are a lot of beautiful medicinal plants that have lovely flowers and lovely foliage that can get mixed into your flower border. But also I find that just leaving some space to grow things that are good curb appeal and make your neighbors, give your neighbors something beautiful to look at is really a good thing. And also you can never go wrong with flowers and plants that attract beneficial insects. So again, we'll come back and look at this later when things are not tiny babies and they look a lot bigger. So over here I have more border plants. And then over here, we'll do a video later. This is where we tore up half our driveway, and there's brand new beds over here. So I'll do a video on that soon. Someone actually asked for an update on that. But right now I want to answer some questions that folks had about a specific plant that is over here. So we'll work our way back. Okay, so we are a certified backyard wildlife habitat. Over here, this is the start of my greenhouse. So this is the foundation I'm working on. And then there's going to be a covered area to obscure my garbage and recycle cans because we don't have a garage. So that's all going here. This is a construction zone, so forgive the mess. Move back through here and we get a currant. All of my currants are grown from free cuttings off Craigslist. So you can see there's a lot of currants. Said I'll do a video about currants later. Currants used to be a really low maintenance, easy plant and one of my favorite fruits to grow in the Pacific Northwest. And then the gooseberry fruit fly moved in, and now they're a lot trickier to get fruit without spraying. You still get fruit, but it's wormy. So there's some techniques to still get a good crop. We can go over those in another video. Okay, so this part of the garden originally was all vegetables. It mostly has grown tomatoes over the years and summer squash and melons and things like that. I am slowly, like everything, making it a food forest based around food producing and support trees. So there's a plum here that I grafted. This is my favorite apple, Hudson's Golden Gem, which cranks out the apples. Behind it, because it needs a highly sheltered location, I have a pomegranate that's hidden up against the house. Crandall currants, rosemary, primarily grown as bee food. There is a young persimmon here. It's very slow growing. Nikita's Gift is the name of that variety. I have pawpaws here and here. Bush cherries, honeyberries, juneberries. I have 3 feijoas, which are incredibly slow growing. So if you're patient, eventually they will get large. I'd like to do a video where I show you one in the neighborhood. someone has probably put in 20 or 30 years ago. It's huge and it's gorgeous. You have to be very patient to grow Feijoa. They're slow growing. And you kind of have to baby them because really, if the winters are really cold here, you can get dieback. Okay, so this plant right here is my purple robe locust. It does not get 60 feet like a normal black locust. It'll top out at 25, but I put it in because the front yard gets intense afternoon sun and I need some shade. My pawpaws like to grow a little bit in the riparian understory. And this tree is a nitrogen fixer. It grows very fast and it produces light, airy, dappled shade. So it doesn't block out too much sun. And then the flowers look like wisteria because it's a legume. So they look like wisteria flowers, except they are, let's see if I can get it. They're not quite blooming yet. They're just starting to. And this is a plant that the hummingbirds love. And the bumblebees, this is covered in bumblebees soon. So this is the second year for it. You can see there's a pink tinged purple color. So they look like wisteria, but they're not that lilac, lavendery color purple. They're more of a magenta. So this tree can have some problems. I'm well aware of what the problems are. High winds, it can break because you can see it grows really quickly. And those pioneer trees that grow at a high rate, they can be prone to breakage. So it's in kind of a sheltered area and I think it'll be all right. So we'll see how this goes. I really need some shade up here. Plants just cook in the summer. Underneath are planted a lot of vegetables still. So I'm still tucking in my annual veggies under this immature canopy. Basically, it's not a canopy yet, but immature food forest. So these are all underplanted already. They just are barely germinating or haven't germinated yet. So there's pumpkins, summer squash, there's some kale and other brassicas, radishes, mustard greens, things that are already germinating. And then this will, I hope, fill in largely with pumpkins and summer squash. So we'll see how that goes. I have a lot of perennial things underneath: sea kale, Egyptian walking onions that are my lowest level of herbaceous plants in here as well. Okay, so the tree up here that I want to talk about, because I've gotten several questions, is this tree, which is my peach tree. I have one peach tree, and it is the Oregon curl-free peach. So the questions I've been getting are, what kind of peaches do you grow? What varieties of nectarines do you grow? How do you deal with peach leaf curl? So I don't grow any varieties of nectarines, and we'll get to why that is in a second. I grow one kind of peach. So you should know that peach trees are relatively short-lived trees, and they got problems. So if you have a peach tree, it's not going to be in here like an apple tree for 80 years. You might get 20, 25 years out of a peach tree, maybe. So you just have the expectation that it won't be around forever. You can see this peach tree is loaded with blossoms. I love the vibrant pink, not blossoms, baby fruit. I love the vibrant pink blossoms that it has in spring. It's very decorative. But in Oregon, peach leaf curl is a significant problem, and that's a fungal disease. And I'm going to see if I can find some leaves here to pick off for you. Here's one. So peach leaf curl causes this reddish tinge and then crumpling up of the leaves, and it can cause dieback of the branches, and it can defoliate your tree enough to where your tree has a hard time photosynthesizing. And so here's another one. Now I said that the variety of this tree is Oregon curl-free peach. There are no varieties of peach that are immune to peach leaf curl. Oregon curl-free and a few other varieties are resistant, but they still get some. They just have enough healthy leaves that they can do well without spraying. So if you get a curl-free variety, it's gonna have some damage on it. If you don't have a resistant variety, what you're going to get is a tree that needs to be treated heavily with antifungal agents. So organic one would be copper fungicide, which you spray in the late winter when the tree is dormant, and then you spray again in the very early spring before the tree flowers. So this tree flowers and then it leaves out. You want to do it before it flowers. And you also want to spray at night when there are no insects out, because it could be a warm February day and the bees would be out. And you want to wear protective gear. So it is an organic fungicide, but it's not good for you. I very rarely spray. I don't spray this tree at all. I have had to use copper fungicide on some of my quince and things that get rust. So again, it's an organic fungicide, but if you can avoid using it, that would be great. So for me, I like things to be as low maintenance as possible. I want them to be hardy, resilient. I want them to take care of themselves. And I want to put the minimum amount of work in. Look at all these peaches set on this year. I'm super excited. So if I have to have a peach tree that requires a lot of babying and work, I'm not going to grow it. This is why I don't grow nectarines, even though I prefer the flavor of nectarines to peaches, and I just love nectarines. There are no resistant varieties of nectarine. So for me, it's just not worth it. I stopped growing apricots for the same reason. In our wet, damp climate, they're very prone to fungal diseases, and I don't want to spray for shot leaf all the time. Here comes a car, sorry. So when we talk about what are the benefits of this tree, it's lower maintenance. You don't have to spray it. You do need to prune it into an open shape. I had some damage due to some other branches that got damaged by falling, by some things that fell into this tree. So there are some broken branches, but you want to prune it into an open shape with good air circulation, so that you can reduce that ability for the fungus to really grow. And the peaches are not how you think of. I normally think of a peach as like the size of my fist or bigger. Peach you buy in the store. Oregon curl-free peaches are maybe this big when they're mature. They have good flavor and a good firm texture. Nobody likes a mealy peach. They have a good texture, nice flavor. It is less fruit, so the fruit to pit ratio is not as great, but I'm willing to have that, I'm willing to put up with that, to have a peach that doesn't need as much babying. So I hope that answers some of your questions about peach growth in the Pacific Northwest, peach cultivation. If you look on One Green World, which is my favorite nursery, there are a few other varieties of resistant peach, but I think that Oregon curl-free is the most highly resistant. So you want to prune for that open shape. If you have to spray copper fungicide, you spray once in the late winter and once in the early spring before it flowers. But really save yourself labor, save yourself the cost of having to spray, and get a resistant variety, invest in a resistant variety. And also think about growing for your climate. So when I took out my apricot, I put in figs. Like swap out, you may have to do without something in your climate, but you can swap in something that will give you a high benefit for low effort. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please like it, please subscribe to my channel, please leave me comments or questions, and I'm happy to try and cover them in an upcoming video. I'm going to be talking about my pawpaws soon. Somebody asked me for an update on them. You can see pawpaws are slow growing, but they're doing very well. And I'm going to be doing an update on the area where we ripped out the driveway. I also got a request to do an update on my blueberries. I grow a lot of kinds of blueberries, and we can do a troubleshooting video on that. So again, please feel free to leave your questions and comments, and I will be back soon. Thanks.